Hey lads, today I am going to the Rising Star July Grand Prix, 4 rounds of 45 plus 15 or 45 plus 10. And I'm in the under 1600 section. I'm gonna absolutely crush everybody. So I hope you guys enjoy it, and let's see how we do.
In game one of the tournament, I got to play against a gentleman named Nicholas, and his rating was 1307. I got the white pieces, and so I opened the game with d4. My opponent played d6, and d6 is quite an odd sort of opening move. I was expecting maybe he was going to do some kind of pirk, but against d6, I always play knight c3, and then when he played his knight out to f6, I played e4, and then he hit me with c5. And so I wasn't in familiar territory anymore. Typically, I like to, when they fianchetto here, I like to go for a kind of trappy sort of opening and do some fun stuff, or go for an English attack where I put the bishop on h6 and chuck Harry down the board. But c5 was an interesting move, one that I hadn't seen in this order before. And the engine recommends just capturing this pawn here, because after they take back, we can take the queens off. They can't castle anymore. I can still castle, and we can immediately start developing our pieces. This pawn will need to be defended at some point. If I put the bishop here, I could target it immediately. Maybe they have to play here, and then we can long castle with check. It just looks like a really nice opening. And so if I see c5 in the future, I'm going to take it. However, I always get stressed when I see c5 because I think it's going to be a Benoni. But in this order, I have a knight on c3, so there's no check. It just makes sense to capture this pawn. I played it like a Benoni, and he continued to play it like a Benoni. So this is what we got. I threw in a check. He pulls his bishop out to d7, and I've always heard when you have a space advantage, it's often good to trade off one piece and then just keep the space advantage and not trade off any more. So I thought about taking his bishop here, and I know that this is a decent move, but this isn't what I went for. I went for the move a4, which allows him to double my pawns, but I also get that trade, and I have a rook attacking a7, and I'm feeling pretty good here. He took the bishop, I recaptured, and he plays e5. Now he's taken 2 moves to play e5, so I kind of thought in my mind, I'm probably doing okay here. My position's probably all right, but I didn't quite see what my follow-up was here. Now the engine says my best move is h4, just start an attack, because he's probably not castling this way when I have a rook on a half-open file. Knight f3 is also good. And then queen e2 is decent. It holds onto this pawn. It looks down the center here where we're probably going to have a pawn break and stuff's going to open up. But I played the move f4, wanting to just break everything open immediately. And I think that I need to just realize that this is a mistake according to the engine, but like understand why is it a mistake. And the reason is I'm not developing. I'm already going for a pawn break before I develop. And I need to get out of this habit. Do a pawn break after I get my pieces onto good squares. So it's not the worst move, but there are a lot of obvious moves that were a lot better. Here he goes knight bd7. I put the knight on f3. He puts his queen on e7. I go on e2. And already there's a lot of tension here on e5. So he's defending it with his pawn, with his knight, with his queen. So 3 defenders. And I also have 3 defenders. I can't take it yet. I would need to have 1 more attacker than defender to be able to win this. So here he goes g6. I castle. He puts his bishop on g7. And in this position, I have a really long think. I am defending this pawn here with my queen and knight. And so I came up with this idea. What if we route our knight back to d1, and then we could push c4 and have a solid structure here, kind of like a stonewall structure. And then I could put the knight back on c3 to defend if I need to, but there would be this pawn here that has moved up. And I didn't really think anything was opening up yet, so I decided I'm going to go with this plan. Now, That's not a good plan. The top move by the engine here is f5. And f5 makes a lot of sense because he's probably not castling this way. Like we said, we've got a rook on the A file. He's probably wanting to castle this way. And so if I play f5, I'm already attacking his structure here. So this is something I need to be more open to playing in the future. Now, if I don't want to play f5, I could also just take here. And this is quite interesting too. I have 2 attackers, and like we said he had 3 defenders. But if I'm attacking first, I can take, he can take, and then I don't have to continue my attack. I can start to develop here. The best move here is bishop g5, pinning the knight to the queen. The second best move is rook a3, just lifting a rook. I guess it looks okay along this file. And the third best move is bishop e3. I would probably have played bishop e3, just looking at this pawn. Maybe I get my knight over here to a4, attack this pawn twice. I'm not entirely sure. But taking on e5 once was definitely an okay option. I could probably also bring my rook over to d1 at some point and then maybe push this pawn forwards. So I had options, but the option I went for was not the best. It was the move knight d1. And the reason this is a bad move is precisely because of what he did. E takes f4. So he takes here. And now that my knight's not on c3, I'm not defending this pawn enough. It's only defended one time, and he's attacking it twice. I capture his pawn, and here he can simply just go up a pawn. He can take this. Now, I thought about this for a while. I thought if he does take this pawn, I can put the rook on e1 like this. And then I thought, he can't really save this knight. How is he going to save it? But he actually has the move f5, because now his knight is no longer on f6. He's moved it out of the way. He can defend this knight no problem. If I try to attack it, let's say we try to just get rid of it, he can actually just take off my knight here. If we try to attack it over here, how is he going to defend this? Just puts his other knight on f6. And he's able to defend this knight no problem. It's an outposted knight. I can't hit it with a pawn because I don't have any pawns. And I'm never breaking through here. And if he were to move it, then I would win his queen with checkmate, but wasn't able to. And I didn't really calculate that enough. I didn't see the full continuation there like I should. Instead of taking that pawn, my opponent actually just castled. So I was a bit bummed that he castled, because I thought I had all this pinned stuff where I could maybe just win his queen after he takes here. And so I thought, do I need to defend this pawn again? And the answer is yes, I do. I need to put my knight back onto c3. It's the only decent move. But I instead didn't care to admit that I had made a mistake, and I played the move c4, going with my original plan. I'm defending my structure here, and so this pawn is up for grabs. He takes it. But he didn't take it with the knight. He took it with the queen. Now, if he had taken it with the knight, I was feeling better, because here, and he still can't move this knight because I win his queen. But again, he has f5, and then if I go over here to attack it, he'd take me off. If I go over here to attack it, he just goes knight over here to defend it, and he's totally fine. None of this was really working for me. I'm just down a pawn. However, he took with the queen, which was a little unexpected, and I saw this pawn is very weak. This bishop's hanging, so I have to just trade. So I took his queen, he took my queen. I moved my knight up to g5, and here he took my knight, and I recaptured. And the next couple moves might surprise you a wee bit. He played knight to e5, a logical move, putting his knight in the center, attacking my pawn, and I went for a counterattack, attacking his rook and his pawn here. He spent a little bit of time here thinking, and he ended up playing the move knight takes on c4, and I was very surprised by this, because I thought, okay, you win a pawn, but I win a rook. And yes, you get my bishop. So you got 4 points, I got 5 points. It's not the end of the world for you. It definitely looked like this was good for me. So I captured his rook. He took my bishop back, and here we are equal on material, which I was very happy to have. However, I have isolated pawns, doubled pawns on the b file, not looking the greatest. This one's under attack 2 times, and so I have to defend it. I pulled my rook up to a2 to defend it. I didn't want to be passive and put it on b1 here. I thought he's probably able to just throw in a check here. I'm going to have to move over. And then I saw that he was going to be able to attack this here, but also this here. This is a beautiful fork. So I didn't want to come to b1. I instead went to a2. and he checked me anyway. I moved over, and then he moved his king up to e7. In this position, I had another long think. I wasn't sure if I should try to just start harassing his king, if I should try to develop my knight, or if I should move this pawn. I ended up just moving this pawn. This pawn is attacked twice, it's defended twice, but this means my pieces have to just sit here and defend it. So let's just put it on b3. That way my rook can be more active. Maybe I can get over here and throw in some check and maybe win a pawn over here. So this is what I went for. My opponent moved his knight back, attacking my pawn on d5. And here my best move is rook e2. Now I had another long think here. So I thought just going rook e1, he's going to move over, most likely this direction, which is what he did. And I thought I have control of the file. Maybe I can double my rooks. I don't know. I wasn't entirely sure what was going to happen here. Now I did see if I did double my rooks, he's able to capture here and hold this square, which would have been very annoying for me. Honestly, I don't know why I made the next move. I should have just doubled my rooks and waited for this at some point, but I played the move b4. I don't really know what this enables me to do. I mean, it does isolate this pawn if he takes, but it just didn't seem all that great. I thought maybe if he takes here, then I can take here, and I don't really know, but he ended up taking. I took, he took back. He's got 3 connected pawns here, 3 connected pawns here, and 2 minors in the middle. He's doing fantastic. I just played g3, trying to get my king into the game. He pulls his knight back, attacking my weak pawn. So I double my rooks, thinking let's go here. If he takes, I'm very happy because I could start eating these pawns, and maybe I can get one of these pawns promoted. He slings his rook over to e8, probably one of the best moves because he's contesting the file, and this rook was doing absolutely nothing over on e8. So I captured, he captured, and here I just went knight e3, hoping for some kind of miracle where maybe I can come here and win a pawn or something. I wasn't entirely sure. He just took my knight off. I recaptured, and he moved up here attacking my pawn. So it's really one of my only assets right now. So I defended it. He moved his king over, and now I start marching my king. I got to get my king into the game. It's in the corner doing absolutely nothing, and this position looks really dire. I was worried. So I started moving. He plays f5. I keep moving my king. He goes king to b6. I keep moving my king. He takes my pawn. I keep moving my king. He attacks my rook. I pull all the way back to the first rank. He marches his c pawn forwards. I keep going forwards with my king, looking at these pawns. If I can get rid of them, maybe I can get a pawn promoted. He attacks my rook. I just sit on c1. Now I know if I just sit here for the rest of the game, it's going to take a while for him to attack me and defend the pawn. So maybe I have enough time to grab some pawns. He jumps over here, defending his pawn, and all he has to do is 1, 2, 3, 4, and take this. And how long is it going to take me? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, because I got to move my king and get these pawns as well. So he's definitely winning this. I capture. He pushes his g pawn. This helps me save 1 tempo. I go h4. He captures, I capture. He goes f4. This helps me save another tempo where he could have just marched his king down. I go h5. Now in this position, he's still doing okay because he's decided to commit to pushing this pawn. But if he's decided to commit to pushing this pawn, he needs to continue pushing this pawn and not move his king down here at all, because it's only 1, 2, 3, 4 for me now. And if he starts moving his king, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I capture here, 5, 6, 7, and defending here, 8. You know, it's going to take him a while. So I'm definitely doing well. He just needs to promote his f pawn. He moves his king. I move my king, making space for my h pawn. He moves in, I move, he moves, I move, he moves. And here, probably the best move is something like rook h1, so that when he captures, I could recapture here, and his king is on the first rank, really far away from everything. But I just capture, he captures with knight, I get a queen. He pushes his f-pawn now, but it's a little too late. Check. He has to move. I move my king down. He moves the a-pawn because he can't move this f-pawn forwards. I capture it. I move my king in. He defends with the knight on e1. I move my king in, threatening checkmate in 1. He checks me. I take the pawn. He checks me. I get out of the way. He checks me. I get out of the way. Still threatening checkmate in 1. He checks me. I move out of the way. He jumps up here, not allowing me to checkmate him. So I just go queen f2. And here he plays the move a4, knowing that if he moves a knight, I can checkmate on d2. Here I go queen takes f3. He's got to move his king. So he goes king e1. I move my king over. He plays a3 and we checkmate him. In this game, the engine says I played with an 83.2% accuracy and Nicholas played with a 77.3. Couple things that I learned from this game. Number 1, develop your pieces before going for a pawn break. Like, that is fundamental chess. I should know that. Number 2, I should count my defenders and not move my knight to d1, you know, when I don't have enough defenders for a pawn. So I should have kept my knight on c3 in that game and just made some improving moves with my other pieces. Where do my pieces want to be placed? What are the best squares for my pieces? And just place them on those squares. So yeah, learned a couple things, but we did get fortunate that we were able to win in the end game. I think the thing for my opponent to learn is if you're going to commit to attacking my rook, do that. Or if you're going to commit to pushing your f-pawn, do that. But you can't do both because you're going to run out of tempos. So hope you guys enjoyed this game. Let's jump into game 2. In game 2, I played against a young girl named Sarah. She had the white pieces, I had the black pieces, and her rating was 1272. I think, I'm not quite sure how that works because you can only play 100 points up, but I'm technically in the 14 to 1600 rated section. So I'm not quite sure why it says online that she was 1272 at the start of this tournament, but according to the sheet, you know, at the time she was slightly over 1300. So not entirely sure, but sometimes those things aren't completely up to date during a tournament. But on the US Chess Federation website, it does say that she was 1272 at the start of this game. So she played the move e4, and against e4 we play a Caro. So this was just a simple Caro Kann. And it was the exchange variation where she takes the pawn, I recapture, and she brought her bishop out to d3. Not a very common opening. Normally you want to bring your own bishop out to one of these two squares. And you can see here she's not allowed me to bring my bishop out to either square. So kind of frustrating because I want to bring it out. So we just developed with knight c6. She plays c3. And here I'm seeing I still can't bring my bishop out. I mean, maybe I could have if she had played knight f3 herself. We could put our bishop on g4. So here I just played a knight to f6 so that I can support a square for my bishop to come out to. Now, if she had played like h3 or f3, I don't know what I would have done. Probably would have just kept my bishop on the inside of the pawn chain, played this like a French, and maybe played e6, put my bishop here, castled, and then looked for some pawn break in the middle. Maybe I would have even played e5, I'm not sure. But now this is how this game went. She went bishop f4. I bring my bishop out finally. She comes out to b3, eyeing this pawn. I can't defend with my rook. I can't defend with my queen on c7, which is normally a good square for your queen in the Caro Kann. So I just put it on c8, defending this way. And she brings her knight out to d2. I'm really surprised these are all book moves. But this is called the Caro Kann exchange variation, Rubinstein variation. So I guess this is this is a way a lot of people have played in the past, which is good to know. I played e6. She brought her knight out to f3. We are on move 9 of the game, and this is still book moves. And I play the best engine move, knight to h5, which is a weird move, but I saw if I put my knight here, I actually can trade off this dark squared bishop, which is really annoying because I want to play rook b8 and push this pawn eventually. So she pulled back, I took, she captured with the f pawn, which was really weird. And now she's got doubled pawns. And I thought, okay, I have a slight edge here. That's what I was thinking in my mind. I put my bishop on d6. She castled, I castled, and she attacks f7. She's attacking with 2 pieces. I'm defending with 2 pieces. So I'm totally fine here. But I thought I'll just give her knight a little kick. So I kicked her away. She ran back. And I play a6 so that no bishop can come in here hitting my knight, but also preparing b5 on my next move. She pulls her bishop all the way back, and I could already see exactly what she wants to do. I've been trying to get into a habit during these over-the-board games to say, what is my opponent trying to do with their move? And I did do that in this situation. I saw she's wanting to put her queen here and checkmate me. So I played b4 or b5. She put her queen on c2. I just attack her queen. She's not going to capture my bishop because bishop for queen, that's great for me. She moves out of the way. I just take the bishop off. She moves her rook over. And now I don't have any threat. So I continue with my minority attack, whatever's going on here. She puts her knight onto e5. And I think this is the biggest mistake in the game. She's got doubled pawns, but also she's got an isolated pawn on e5. And this is going to be my main target. Maybe I can come here and attack it. Maybe I can come here and attack it. Maybe I can put my queen on c7 and attack it. But either way, whatever happens here, I'm going to probably win this pawn at some point. I go knight c4. She trades. And here I had quite a little think, actually. I couldn't quite decide which piece to take with. Do we take with the d pawn and have a 3v3 on this side? She has an isolated and doubled pawn. So I knew I was winning, but I wasn't entirely sure if this was the best. Do we take with this pawn? So I have a minority attack still here with the one pawn, but then these aren't together. They're not connected. So maybe I have an isolated pawn. I was like, maybe this isn't so good. What do I take with the queen? You know, I'm hitting this pawn. It looked kind of good, but I wasn't entirely sure. I ended up deciding to just do a 3v3, even though queen takes was technically best. So we went with the 3v3, and I knew that this was a solid move because, again, isolated and doubled pawns. She moved her king over, getting out of the check that would win me the pawn. I moved my rook to d8, attacking the queen, so forcing the queen to move. She happened to want to move the queen anyway, and I asked myself, what is her plan? She clearly wants to take on f7, so we just defend it with rook to a7. They move their rook up to f2. I move my rook up to d3, tempoing the queen, forcing it to move again. She just pulls up to f4, wanting to have all this pressure here still. I put my queen on d8, doubling these pieces, and she pulled back to f1. Now, I was never afraid of her ever taking this pawn because she's not doing the Alekhine's gun the correct way. You know, technically she would want to have her queen on the back and this rook on the front so that there's two rooks in front of a queen and then the rook can take. That's the way you want to do the Alekhine's gun setup. Even the cheeseburger, the patty, the queen is the bun and another patty, you know, something like that is a good way to do it too. But having the queen in the front is never really the best. So I was feeling pretty good. She went back to f1, a bit weird, didn't understand what she was doing. I thought maybe she's going to come here. But then I saw take, and that's going to be a checkmate. After the queen comes to f1, we're going to take the queen and mate the king in the corner. So I wasn't worried. I just go with the Alekhine's gun. She pulls back. And here I was wondering, do we go rook d2 and like attempt to attack this, like tempo this again? I didn't really see what it did for me, so I didn't go for it. I also looked at this move, rook d1. Take would be a check, and then she could block here. Take. That's one cool way to do it. But also when I go here, she doesn't have to take. And if I capture, she could just capture, and I have a very small gun now. It's more like a pistol. Yeah, I didn't really see it, so I just put my queen on c7. She played up to f4, defending the pawn that I was attacking with my last move. I double attack, so now we have two attackers. Now she's got two defenders. And now we set up the Alekhine's gun again, because the queen is not able to defend currently. So she pulls the queen back. And I move up to d2. And here I had the longest think, trying to find what move to play when she played rook to e2. I couldn't quite decide what to do. And you can see the analysis bar is telling you that I have a huge advantage. But I couldn't figure out what move was best. Like, do we go here? I'll just show you this. Here, take, check, here, mate. That would be fantastic. But if I go, you just saw the move that I played. But if I go here, she could take, I could take, and then she could just block with rook e1. And I thought, oh, that doesn't work. You know, I'm not getting what I want. Maybe here I could pull back to d2 and go after this again. But I was like, well, we already tried that. You know, it's literally not changing anything. So all I ended up doing in this position was moving my other rook up to d3, a very slow move. And I just said, I'll let you make the decision. Do you want to take? Do you want to move back and defend? And, you know, what, you make the decision. So she took. I took. She moved her queen up to f3 again, probably trying to prepare something here again. I just moved my queen up, offering a queen trade, also attacking the pawn. She took. I took. And she moved her king to g2. Now, I knew I was doing very well because my rook's on the second rank. She's got an isolated pawn and double pawns. Now, I could simply just go rook to e2 here. And yeah, king comes over. I take the pawn, but then the king could probably get off of the back rank. So I thought maybe it's best to keep my rook on the second rank, you know, just keep the king trapped. So I just started moving my king in. She kept moving her king. I kept moving my king. She played b3. I took. She took. I moved over here to defend this one, but also staying on the second rank. She moved her rook over. I get ready to attack the pawn. She defends the pawn. I move this pawn up, and she offers a rook trade, which I take. And the rest of this game is very easy. And so that is how game 2 went. The engine says that I played with a 92.9% accuracy, and she played with an 84%. So I was very happy with this result, and glad that I finally had a Caro Kann game over the board where I didn't completely blunder something. I think my Caro Kann is improving, and I think I played this game pretty well. There were a couple slight moments where I probably could have played something slightly better, and I only really had one miss in the entire game, which was this move where I captured the pawn. And I should have taken here, because if she captures, well, here I can just simply recapture, and she's got 2 isolated pawns now. But at this point in the game, I had already won, so I'm not too bummed about that. But what I am bummed about is game 3 and 4, and you're going to see why, because I get 2 absolutely crushing positions, and you'll see what happens. Here we have game 3 against a young man named James. His rating was 1590, and he had the black pieces, so I was excited to play against him. I had previously played against him before, the last recap that I did, and I lost to him, but out of the opening I played, I had a long fight, and I eventually got to the point where I won a pawn, and I didn't take the pawn, and I looked for more and ended up losing. So this game, I think James was very prepared for what I was gonna play, and so I tried to switch stuff up a little bit just to see if I could get him, and I actually managed to find some beautiful stuff. D4, D5, a knight, C3, and I knew that he liked to bring the bishops out super early. Bishop f5, and so instead of playing the slow moves of bishop f4 and then f3, I immediately hit him with f3. He brings his knight out, and I play the kind of dubious move e4. Now, this isn't book, but what is book is this move. He goes here, I go here, he makes a little hole for himself, and then I come here, attempting to come to knight f4, taking the bishop this way. This is the way you should play if you are going to play the Jobava London, but e4 I thought was quite interesting because he took the pawn, and then the next move here is not an expected move, and it is a little dubious. Queen e2. Looks like I'm just giving him a pawn. This pawn is hanging, and he's already up a pawn, but there are some tricks on this diagonal which James fell for. He took the pawn on d4, and I knew that I was in a winning position. I've had this a couple times online, but I threw in a check. He brought his bishop back, the only move. Otherwise, we take the bishop. You know, you can't block with this one. We take the bishop. So this is a really nice fork. He's got to pull back. It's his only move. So bishop back. We take the pawn. He takes this pawn. I was very happy to see this. I took back with my knight. And you might think my king is gonna die here. It's in the open and there's a queen in its face. But if you look at the squares, bishop covers e2, bishop covers c3. I'm sorry, e3. Knight covers e4. The other knight covers e5. So the only square that my king can really be checked on is this square back here. So it needs to get to here. So I knew I was totally fine. He pulls his queen all the way back. We take the rook, And you might be thinking, uh-oh, Owen, you're getting trapped. How are you going to get out? We play the beautiful bishop b5. And he can't take my queen because he's pinned. And so in this position, he took my bishop, and now my queen can get out. But first we take that bishop back. He takes my knight, and I win the pawn. So this is what I did. Apparently the engine really likes bishop e3, saying this is the best move, just making sure I develop. I don't know about this because it looks like it hangs this and a wee bit risky, but apparently this is really good for me. He can't take here because I'm defending, and he has to keep defending this one, and maybe even rook's coming here at some point, but this knight's in trouble. He's going to have to defend it. So my position just looks really crushing. Bishop b5, bishop takes, knight takes, queen takes. I take a7. He plays the queen back, and I happily trade queens. My position is just dominating. I'm up the exchange. So he has a knight, and I have a rook. So I'm just winning. Bishop comes out, knight comes over. I attack. I want to trade off pieces. He pushes his pawn forwards, developing his bishop. I take, he takes. I check with castle, and he moves up to c6. And in this position, I thought, let's just not allow his bishop to develop, because if his bishop moves now, we take his rook. So I thought this looks like a really good file for my rook to be on. And when I moved here, I should have been thinking, Owen, your rook's not defended. So watch out for tactics. There's always tactics if you have a piece on the board that's not defended. And so after he played g6, I got carried away, and I didn't consider that his bishop isn't going to move to g7. And this is what I thought it was going to do. I thought it was going to come to g7. So really here, my best option, I think, is just double the rooks. Make sure it's defended. And then he comes here. Trade off. I can even come here. This one can't move, or he loses this one. One of them's going to get traded off. We're doing totally fine. So bishop g7, we take, he takes. I have a rook and 5 pawns, and he has a bishop and 5 pawns. I'm going to win this. But we didn't get this. So after he played g6, I thought, let's pin the knight to the rook. And I missed that there's a check on the board, and my rook is hanging. And so he played it. And his countenance lit up, and he was happy, and I was depressed that he wasn't depressed anymore, that I was winning, because I was now losing. So I played back, he took, I took, he checked, and I moved my king over. Engine says it's 0.4 advantage for him, but it's a very equal game now. We both have 5 pawns, I have a bishop, he's got a knight. If we look back a few moves here, king b1 is actually my best move, giving this up. Then I take here, hitting here, and now we both have a rook and a bishop. This would have technically been slightly better. Here he's up 1.2. But the sequence of moves, the reason this is so bad is because he has, instead of taking here, he could have gone rook d8, and he could have attacked the pinned piece. And so now when I take here, he can just take here, and his rook's on the second rank, and my rook's not, and my bishop's doing terrible. Let's say I go king b1 now to get out of the pin. Well, now he just goes rook takes g2, and he's up a pawn, and his rook is super powerful. He could have had a much easier game, but he missed that, and he just took the rook immediately. I recaptured, he attacks, I move over. Now he has to do this because otherwise, like let's say he moves a pawn, then I can just take here, and now I have 2 pieces. And yes, he can get his rook out, but I have 2 pieces, so I'm going to be winning this. So it is what it is. This is the best move. I move over, he moves his knight up, and I swap off rooks. Here, the position's 0.3 for him, so it's basically completely drawn. But I was so annoyed and frustrated at myself that I just proceeded to play really bad moves. And I guess the thing I'm learning from this game is, like, if you fail and you accidentally mess up, just regain your composure and keep fighting, because the game wasn't over and there was plenty of opportunities here to do well. And if I get a draw against a 1590, you know, that's a good result. So I don't need to be fighting for a win, even though I had a clear win. So he attacks my bishop, I pull it back. He attacks my bishop, I pull it back. He moves his pawn up. I move my king up to defend my bishop. He moves his other pawn up. He's got all these pawns charging down the board. And I felt like the position was still equal because I have a bishop, he's got a knight. Bishops are better than knights generally. But when I move my king in here, he actually has some really nice moves. He checks me first. I have to come back. Here he plays f4. I pull my bishop back. And here he actually missed something. He just took my bishop off. But he could have actually played the beautiful move f3. And when I recapture, because I'm going to recapture, he just takes with check. If I take his pawn, he takes my knight, or my bishop. If I move up here, then he just goes f2. And I can't take here because he's going to promote. And there's no way for me to stop this pawn. So he actually had some tactics that he missed. But he instead took off the piece. And now I'm in a pawn and king endgame where the position's completely equal. If I play the move a4 or king e3 or c3. But the move I played was c4, which was a big mistake. The pawn on the edge maybe is better because it controls here, but this one, I didn't understand why it was worse. I thought it controlled well. King c5 is his best move here. And then I go c3, and I guess I can go here and I can defend here with my king. And then if he ever tries to get to this pawn, I can make a break and run with my other one. But if I do it in the opposite direction, he can get to this pawn and attack it, and my king can't defend it without having to defend this too. So I should have kept the defense like this. So good to know, but very hard for me to like find that with all the stress in my brain of being completely winning and now losing. Anyway, he moves his king up. I go b3. He moves his pawn up. I just put my king here. Now I can never take this pawn because this one will promote. So yeah, capture. He moves here. I chase it and he promotes. So I'm going to just lose this. He moves his king up. I go h4. He goes h5. I move to f2. He moves back to c5. I go to e3. And here he played c6, which gave me an opportunity to draw the game. And James told me this afterwards. He's like, when I went king c6, you didn't play b4. And I clearly should have done this. His best move here is b5. And then I go c5. And he can never, try to come around here to eat this one on a2 because this one will just promote. So I should have done this. I just didn't consider. And in the future, when I get to endgames like this, I'm going to make sure I draw it. But I was just annoyed at myself for throwing away a win, you know? Anyway, king over. I'll just show you the rest of the moves here. He just trades and gets a queen here, and I resign the game. It was a tough one. The engine says that James played with a 78.4% and I played with a 72.8%. I had a huge opportunity to win that if I had just played the right move here, doubled my rooks, do the simple developing move instead of trying to do tactics. I probably would have ended this game with like 95% accuracy or something, but it is what it is. You live and you learn, and I'll beat James next time. But after this game, I was feeling a bit bummed. Game 4 has a better result, but some similar things happen in it. So I'll show you what happens now. Game 4, I got the black pieces. I was playing against a young boy named Raed, and he was rated 1471, so a similar rating. He played e4, I played c6, d4, d5, knight c3, d takes e4, knight takes e4, knight f6, and this would be the alien gambit taking on f7, but he takes my knight on f6, and I recapture, and we are into the main line for the Tartakower variation, my favorite Caro Kann. I learned some very important things in this game, and I think you'll be interested to see them. I had no idea about these things until I pulled up the analysis afterwards. I thought that I played fairly accurately, and my opponent also thought that I played fairly accurately, but you're going to see where some of these things went wrong. So he played c3, I go bishop d6, bishop d3, castle, queen c2, and this is all book, h6, and he brings his knight to e2. Knight to e2 is not super common. I never see this online. I always see knight f6 and I always pin, but knight to e2 was a new move for me to see. I bring my rook over to e8. He castles. We're back into book. And knight d7. and he brings his bishop out to f4. Now, you might be thinking, are there tactics here? And this is what I was thinking in the game. And Raya didn't see this either. And when I captured his knight, I thought, I just did a brilliant move. He has to capture my rook here, obviously. So he takes it, because otherwise I take his queen. And he takes with queen. And so here I can grab his bishop. And I thought, this looks pretty good. I just got 2 minor pieces for my 1 rook. I'm winning. That's what I thought. However, he played the move queen e4, threatening checkmate. Not checkmate. I mean, I have to run over and then check here and then check here, and it's probably mate somehow. I have a knight block, I suppose. Maybe at some point, I don't know. Maybe I can block with something here. It's probably not checkmate completely. But I had a long think here. I was like, uh-oh, what am I going to do? And apparently, the engine says my best move is bishop takes h2 check. He takes here. And then I can go knight f8. There is no mate. You know, defend this square here. Defend this square. The queen's not coming in at all. And he's up 1 point of material. He's got 3 minors. I also have 3 minors. But I have an extra pawn and he has the exchange. I didn't see bishop takes h2. Instead, I was looking for some other idea. And I thought maybe if his queen comes in here, it's not the end of the world if I can defend the e1 square. And so I played the move bishop to d2, defending this square, thinking that I was playing a beautiful move. And here he attacks my bishop, and I assumed that's what he would do. And you can see the engine is telling me that I'm now winning because I have this beautiful move. f5, hitting his queen. And now his queen wants to checkmate, but it can't. Not checkmate, but go in for a mate kind of attack. And so he takes the pawn, and then I have g6. And here he has to move his queen back, and then I can save my beautiful bishop. This is what I did. And I was very proud to find this. But I'm glad to know that all of this is wrong, because he doesn't actually have to attack my bishop here. He could have instead done queen h7 first, king moves over, and then rook a d1, and I can't save my bishop. Like, okay, let's say my bishop comes back to here thinking it's going to be safe. Well, it could get trapped here very easily, but rook fe1, and he's just setting up a mating net. I'm getting absolutely cooked. My best move here is knight e5, which you can see is absolute garbage. So good to know. In this position, I pull my bishop back. He attacks. I pull back. He moves his rook over, looking at maybe some kind of check in here. I just move my bishop back here to defend this square, you know, maybe block something. He pulls over here, pinning this pawn. So now he's threatening to take on g6, which I saw. So I just moved my king out of the pin, and apparently I should have gone knight f8. There is no mate. A much better move, enabling my bishop to be more active. My queen is looking down more squares, and he can't take here because I have a knight. Good to know. But I didn't do it. I moved over. He plays d5. I attack his queen, hoping to take the pawn, and he pulls back to f3. I throw the skewer tactic in. He's got to move his queen out of the way, and I win the rook. He was visibly annoyed. I think he shook his head. He couldn't believe what he'd done. He moved his queen. I took his rook. He checked me. I moved over, and he took my bishop. Here I am up. How much? 2 points of material, but like, I mean, it's more than that, isn't it? I have the same pieces here. I've got an extra knight here, and he's got an extra pawn. I mean, it just seems like I'm doing extremely well. I trade off the queens here. He takes a pawn, and I undouble. I was like, oh, this looks beautiful. My rook's pretty good on this file. These pieces are fantastic. My king's safe. I have no problems. I'm going to win this game. He attacks my pawn. I attack his bishop. He moves back. I move my other pawn forwards, getting ready to just make his bishop bad by sitting here in front of him. He attacks this pawn. I don't care. I guess I care a little bit. I thought this was my move. He checks me. I block with a bishop, and he moves forwards, and I move forwards. So my pawns here are very nice. His bishop's terrible, looking at nothing. He moves his king. I move my king up so that my bishop can move. He moves a pawn, and I fork his pawn and his rook. He attacks my rook, so I take, and now I just win a pawn. Now I'm up 3, like a whole knight. I'm just up a whole knight. I'm gonna win this game. He attacks my bishop, so I go after his other pawn. He pushes. I stop that push. I don't want any funny business here. He pushes again. I take his pawn. He moves his king in. And here I could have done a whole bunch of stuff. I mean, I don't know. What would you guys do? C4 is the best move, apparently. Don't know why this is so good. He can just take it. But then we have knight c5. I guess this is why it's so good, because the pawn was stopping our knight being able to jump to this square. And we could have just dealt with his passer. That would be a nice way to do it. I don't do any of this. I play the move bishop e5. What a baller. And he attacks the defender. And I have to move this piece and I lose this one. Or if I move this piece, I lose this one. Absolute garbage. So I pull the bishop back. He takes. I move my king. He moves. I move my bishop here to defend my pawn. He promotes. I take. He wins a pawn. I attack his bishop. He moves his bishop. I attack his king and defend my pawn. He moves. And the rest of the game just sort of peters out. It's a complete draw. We have opposite colored bishops. And I was very annoyed. This is the ending position. And it just goes to show, like, when you're up in material, just slow down. Like, just slow down and look for what your opponent can do. I just moved so quickly back to e5, only defended by the knight, and there was a big threat of a pawn promotion. So, you know, it's just bad. It's just bad. I just need to slow down. And yeah, ended the tournament with 2.5 points, tied with 2 other people for 3rd place. So I gained a little bit of rating. After this tournament, I went up from 1438 to 1456. And in this game, the engine says I played with an 84% accuracy, my opponent with an 87.5. But again, we would have been in the 90s if we just like kept our advantage and played well. Yeah, I just keep blundering and it's not good. Lots to learn from this game. Don't take a trade with a rook, you know, and you know, this whole tactic, it wasn't a brilliant move when I did it. However, it did end up working out for me, but better to just develop my pieces slowly and thoughtfully and wait for them to make some bold decision that's clearly wrong because you've been thoughtful in developing the whole game. So in the future, going forwards, I'm just going to win every single tournament. You're not going to see any more losses from me, but hope you enjoyed this recap of this tournament and hope to see you all very soon. Bye for now.